Welcome, attendees. I'm so excited to be here talking about this very important topic. Becoming a mother is a life-changing experience, yet it faces a stigma in many industries. So today we want to talk about the challenges and misconceptions we faced, but also highlight the skills motherhood has developed and strengthened in our career journeys. My name is Selina Martinez. I have over a decade experience in product across multiple industries. I'm currently the director of product at Core Spaces, a vertically integrated real estate company, where I'm focused on developing BI tools to empower our business in an industry that's ripe for disruption. I live in Austin, Texas with my husband and 5-year-old daughter. And this topic is particularly timely and relevant as I'm about to have another daughter. I'm 36 weeks.
So yes, show the belly.
Yes. Anyway, that's a little bit about me. Elaine, do you want to introduce yourself?
Thanks, Selina. Hello, everyone. This is Elaine Chang. I also have a Chinese name, Chang. I'm also a mom in product. I have 2 girls, 8 and 10 years old. For mom, M-O-M, I also mean master of messiness. As mom life is messy, product life is messy. If you ask my kids, they will tell you that my mom is an octopus. So for MOM, I also mean master of product as an octopus mom. So this drawing was a gift from my 10-year-old daughter for International Women's Day this year. It's a perfect example of the diversity and messiness in my life. I consider myself a global citizen. I was born in China, grew up in China. So you can see the panda, the noodles, and my favorite Chinese TV station on this drawing. So at age 18, I received full scholarships from universities in both US and Canada, which was unbelievable for me and my family because I couldn't even afford the application fee. I then took the first plane ride in my life, went to Canada, and started my journey around the world. I studied in Canada and England, then came to the United States as I was hired by Microsoft. I am a first-generation Chinese immigrant. People joke that my family is like a United Nation, a melting pot. My husband is Swiss, and we are raising multiracial kids. So I've been a PM for over 16 years, and I've built a diverse range of products and services with focus mostly on data and AI, which is why you see in this picture, my daughter even draw, I love AI in this particular, laptop. So my curiosity and desire to learn has taken me to many different kinds of PM roles. Most recently, after 16 years building products, I started a brand new role as the first technical advisor for Microsoft's Chief Communications Officer. So I'm now working at this intersection of like technology meets storytelling, but I really think that's almost like an extension of PM job. As the technology industry evolves ever more rapidly, it becomes more important to find ways and to seek and amplify weak signals, make connections across teams, and help create stories that bring these new sets of technology and products to life.
Yeah, I love that. That's an incredible background, Elaine. And I love your passion for your career. And also thank you for sharing about the challenges you've overcome. Those stories, our background, really shape us. Right? And speaking of challenges, research has shown that women in tech face significantly more challenges than our male counterparts, especially for working moms. So what are some obstacles or misconceptions you've had or faced as a working mom?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. That's why messiness. There's too many to count. To start, I really think women in tech, whether being mom or not, already face so many challenges of the gender perception bias, right? I know many women, despite being super competent and technical, have been told that we just don't look like we are technical enough. I mean, how many of you, can relate that, we've been mistaken as the note taker, or the secretary in the room, even though, we are actually the product leader, right? So then also being a mom at workplace, I think has unique challenges that dad at workplace don't really have. I give you an example, right? If dads take time to go to a soccer game or parent-teacher conference, they're being celebrated as a family man, right? But if women do that, they often get dinged. right? So, and I saw recently an HBR article talked about women facing this double disadvantage, especially now in the hybrid workplace. It recalls research that women are often perceived as being less committed to their work and careers as men, especially those who consider having family, kids, or having more kids, right? And then, to us, that's actually not really true, but there is that bias. And then speaking of the pandemic impact, I think many of you may have seen the McKinsey Women in Workplace report, and they show that women are disproportionately affected by the COVID-19 crisis. Mom continue to bear more of the burden at home than dads. Like working moms are already working this double shift even before the pandemic, right? After a full day of work, followed by many hours of this kind of hidden or invisible work at home. And then with the school closed down, home education added even a significant strain to many moms, more than dads.
Absolutely. These past few years have been challenging. And I agree. One of the top misconceptions about working moms is questioning our dedication to the job, right? And yes, there are soccer games and teacher conferences and days off and sick days. But that doesn't change the impact we can have. Putting in more or less time doesn't always equate to more or less impact, right? And you brought up the pandemic. While it did negatively impact women more, put more on us, especially working moms, I believe that there's also this shift of challenging that status quo of like you need to have the butts in the seats, right? Philosophy. So and as product people, we should be more focused on outcome versus output, doing better work instead of doing more. So what else have you found to be a misconception?
I mean, another aspect is I feel mothers often face a lot of pressure about being more involved parents from the social structure and norm. Like in my case, while my parents fully support me to be a working mom, my mother in law, who raised her four kids as stay at home mom, was hoping that I could be stay at home mom as well. And you can imagine, that wasn't my plan. So that could raise, challenges for me as well. And then during pandemic, both my husband and I working from home, but I think in reality, I can see that most of his meetings are less interrupted, while my meetings get definitely interrupted more than that. And then because just the kids, just come to my office much more, mommy, 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 right? So I think that's just the social norm of what's happening, the expectation for moms as well.
Yeah. Oh, isn't that true? Absolutely. So a third misconception I want to add is what's kind of more personally felt. And I remember the first time I was preparing to become a mom. I was concerned about, and I'm sure there are people in the audience that are concerned with this as well. I was concerned that motherhood was going to limit our career growth, right? Um, but you know, we talk about all of these challenges when we talk about working moms. There's a lot of focus on that. But what I really want to discuss today is that despite these misconceptions, becoming a mother is a really powerful experience, and it will strengthen and equip you with the skills for your career and to become a better product manager. Now, Elaine, you've come up with an acronym for these skills. Can you share with us what that is?
Yes, yes. And before that, I also really want to comment on what you just said. We talked about all these challenges, and I think we should really acknowledge them. But I also, at the same time, think if we already cannot avoid having all of these challenges, we should talk more about how those challenges really accelerated our growth as better
Yes,
leaders, right?
yes.
Then in this
Yeah.
journey of growth, many of the skills, helped us learn from thriving as moms, right? So they translate well to skills we need at work, and especially women in product. So to make it easier to remember, these are the five key mom skills I learned from raising child that helped me be a better product manager. By the way, this is mom skills in action because I'm using my kids back to school photo prop as this woman in product, presentation prop. So to give a very quick overview, C means courage, um, H means help others and ask for help. And then I means inspire with inclusive culture, and L means love, and then D as design thinking. So next, I'm going to talk about each of the story that how I learned each skill, and then Selina and I will then talk about how they translate into the skills we need in product, right? So start with the C, courage. The main story that I really learned about this was I was thinking back when I was having my first kid. I was trying to see whether I would be able to give birth without epidural, the pain medicine. Really wasn't sure whether I was able to do it, but at the end, I was just so proud I was able to achieve that.
Yeah,
But
that's incredible. I definitely did the epidural the first time and will do it again the second. But good
yeah,
on
yeah.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, I was also thinking, well, my mom had me with C-section, so I really think, no matter how you actually give birth, right, that whole process of giving birth really give each woman, that courage of doing this, way beyond themselves, right? And now, if I think about both you and I being moms, especially mom of two girls, it really give us the courage to do things outside of our comfort zone because we want to pave this road for the next generation, right? So that's
Yeah.
actually really the courage. And if I translate that into the product skills, earlier in my PM career, I would have much more limiting belief. I would be over concerned about many of my immediate challenges. The courage I learned from being a mom really helped me to get out from my comfort zone, right? And from centered around my own mantra of staying humble, hustle hard, to being courageous to speak up, such as coming to conference like this to talk about it and advocate for others for the right cultural change, and then to advocate for all our products, right? So this really helped me be much more selfless and driven to take risks and innovate with the conviction and commitment to lead and deliver product success.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I really identify with that courage part. There is something about becoming a mom that just shifts something inside of you to really embrace that courageousness. And my daughter in particular is just such a great role model for me, right? Like I want to be a great role model for her, but I also see her being bold. What one quick story: we went to a restaurant and there were some older kids, like high school kids, hanging around the playground. And she walked right up to them and acted like she belonged, right? And just hung out with them for, for a good while. And they were chatting with her, and it was just amazing to see. And that just encouraged me to, step up and raise
Yeah.
my hand for opportunities and take my seat at the table, right? Act like I belong.
Yes,
So
yes.
yeah, that has really inspired me as well.
Yes, I definitely relate to that. Kids are always our inspiration. And then, so the second one, in my framework is H, help and asking for help. So
Mm.
prior to becoming mom, I always felt that I can always just work harder to achieve goals, right? After becoming a mom,
Yeah.
I really learned my limitation and, really also aware I need the boundaries. And then that's the learning to really, know the importance lesson to help others and ask for help. And I think, a very common learning in parenting is it takes a village to raise kids, right? So translating that
Absolutely.
to product skill, this is where, I learned the importance of teamwork and collaboration. Earlier in my career, as I reflect, especially as an individual contributor, I was always think, I could always do more, sacrifice more sleep, and work harder to deliver product success. But the mom skills, of that limitation boundaries, also have really taught me for product management, especially as a product leader, it is super important to know how to help others in different roles and ask for help. I'll give you an example, right? A common question now I always ask in any daily basis is, how can I help you? And this is with almost all range of the stakeholders, right? Whether it's developers, like even different, level of skills of developers in different stage, right? Designers, customers, partners, collaborators, and you name it, right? And then the skill of knowing how to ask for help is also super important, especially as a product leader, that we need to know whether it's product strategy, whether it's go to market business model, or hiring talent development. What are the specific challenges and risks, and what particular help from whom is needed, and then we do the necessary work to actually attain the needed support to help the team, and help others to help us to lead the product success. So that's the second part about age. The next one, what I meant is inspire, and I will share with you a quick story from pandemic, and then one particular story. This is where I really learned the modeling. So with pandemic, all the classes went into online. My kids was learning on drawing from online, but the little one, when she was like started the pandemic at 6 years old, she really couldn't focus, and it get me so frustrated just trying to telling her to do, this is where I really know telling people what to do doesn't really work, right? Get myself in so much emotional frustration too. But at the end, I had to, adapt my approach. Then I started just doing the drawing myself because it's online. The teacher doesn't really know who is really doing the drawing. Anyway, so I was just trying to follow the teacher's instruction. And then, also show her, I'm not really perfect. I make mistakes, I'm not very good at this, but I'm not giving up, and I'm going to try and try. And then that modeling, actually inspired her to be able to, okay, calm down and actually just follow this along. So evolved into finally we actually looking forward to this kind of online art classes that we enjoy our time together. So translating that to product skills, like I would think earlier in my PM career, I would care more about coming up with my unique, innovative ideas. But this mom skills taught me to approach my PM work to focus more on what I call inspired leadership, right? So that means creating more empowering culture, and a lot of times supporting others' ideas, or even intentionally guiding others to think it's their ideas. So they're much more motivated and empowered to
Yes.
deliver success. And then the fourth one, L, is love, right? I think we all understand the unconditional love moms have for kids, and especially if I think about the baby days, which you're going to have again. So excited! But you would remember, you when babies are first born, they cannot articulate what they want, right? But it's the moms that will have this unconditional love for babies to really understand their unarticulated and unmet needs. And then translating that love to product management. This is where I have this analogy as customers as babies. So it's like what I think about the focus on customer obsession and user empathy, right? So I
Yes.
would think earlier in my PM career, I remember, we would write technical specifications that are purely product centered without even talking to customers or doing detailed market research. But then that learning for customer obsession has really changed my approach of product management to be really much more customer oriented. To start with that understanding of customer journey, customer pain points, customer's job to be done, and using that to ground out any product investment decisions.
Yeah. I wonder how your customers would feel being compared to babies.
I hope they can feel
No,
my care.
I
I
love
think,
I love it though. Like you're absolutely right in that a lot of times our customers, our users can't articulate what exactly it is they want, or they try to say, oh, we want this, but it's our job as product managers to really understand what that means. And yeah, kids are very similar to.
Yes,
I
yes.
love
And I think, that's basically a unique value, right? A skill
it.
about us product professionals can bring to the table because we can't just, ask customers, oh, what do you want, right? They may tell you, oh, I want a horse, but actually it's us
The faster
understanding
horse,
that
yeah.
need. And then maybe they don't even know the concept of car, right? But, that's how we
Right.
understand and iterate and figure out and innovate and then come up with the new product ideas that can meet that underlying needs, right? So that's where I see the love the love
Yes.
skill that's very
Yes.
important. So the last one, D, it's about design thinking. The story of being a mom that I really learned is, as kids, like even different kids have different needs at different age and a different stage, and and then with all those different kids problem, I constantly really need to hone my skills to really deeply understand the needs of the different kids with different contexts and synthesizing down what problems I'm actually trying to solve and then ideate the different solutions and then prototyping and then testing over and over again the solutions, but at the same time trying to get the feedback from the kids and then the others to see, oh, is this idea or this solution I'm trying to attempt to actually work or not, right? If you think about that, that's actually essentially a creative problem solving skill, commonly known as design thinking, right? So
Sure.
translating that to PM, product management, I would think, earlier in my PM career, I remember we follow a much more waterfall development life cycle, right? Over the years, just like how I've constantly iterated and learned from the trial and errors of being a mom, I've adapted design thinking to more and more aspects of product management, from defining product scope, market fit, to business model, process, and almost like now all aspects that we can use this design thinking process, which is to
Yeah.
emphasize, define, ideate, prototype, test, and iterate, right? That has been just quite effective, especially to iterate rapidly with real customer and market feedback. So, in summary, leveraging the mom skills learned from raising child, C, courage, H, help others, and asking for help. I, inspired with the inclusive culture. L, love with unconditional love for your customer and user empathy. D, design thinking. Then you are a master of messiness and a master of product as an octopus mom.
Oh man, I love that. That is so great, Elaine. I'd love to add three more skills that I was able to develop as I became a mother. Right. So one of them was prioritization. We started talking about all the different logistics involved when you become a mom, and especially at the beginning, it can be overwhelming. But we can't actually do it all. We have to prioritize, right? Between drop-offs and holidays, doctor's appointments, things like that. And so, in order to prioritize, though, we have to think about things in terms of value. And for me, I recognize that cleaning the house, making dinner is those are things that I'd rather outsource. I'd rather pay the housekeeper and buy the dinner. And I'm lucky enough to be able to do that, right? Um, but similar in my product management experience, early in my career, I wasn't making those hard decisions. I was trying to do it all. People would give their input, and I wanted us to be able to make all of those changes. But learning to say no and how to delegate and prioritize really helped me to make those better decisions. The second skill that I really gained was negotiation. And this is also something that I got inspiration from my daughter. So I read somewhere there's a parenting tactic to give your kids options so that they can exert some autonomy and have choices. So I asked her, for dinner whether she wants pasta or tacos, but it doesn't work. She always comes back with something else, like chicken katsu, right? And so in my role as a product manager, this type of creative thinking of negotiation, thinking of a third solution that we didn't even know existed, helps immensely when dealing with stakeholders, customers, and vendors. So yeah, I really get that inspiration from her. And
Yeah,
in
I
and
can't agree more.
oh
Like, I think, that's where
yeah.
if I actually know that skill of negotiate, you're going to grow more after you have two kids. That sibling
Yes.
rivalry is going to give you more opportunity to grow that negotiation skill.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. You'll have to tell me more because
Yes.
I don't know what I'm in for yet. But yeah, the negotiation just really helps too, in our career in general to get us that higher salary, better benefits, and also better work scenarios, right? I think the pandemic has given us that opportunity to come up with solutions that maybe weren't options before, right? Having that flexible schedule, sometimes in the office, sometimes working remotely. Um, we need to think outside the box and get our chicken katsu, right? So the last skill that I think has really had the biggest impact on my career is my ability to vision. So motherhood changed my perception to think more long term. When I first had my daughter, that's when I started thinking about 10, 20 years in the future and focusing on how the little things that we do today can have an impact, right? So there's part of me that was worried about like messing her up, and then the other part of like she comes up with a drawing that looks really cool, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's gonna be like this world famous artist, right? But just being able to flex that muscle and think about things in terms of what she could be. And parenting is much harder because you don't have as much control, right? But with product management, we do, have control and shape over the product, what the product can become, and by being able to cast this vision um, for the team, for everyone that's involved, we can really become product leaders. And yeah, so those are the three different skills that I was able to gain from motherhood. And I think that just goes to show there are so many skills during this very powerful experience of becoming a mother that can apply to our career and product management. Just looking at the time, we're about to run out of time. But Elaine, I was, you know, wanting you to leave the audience with a few parting thoughts.
Yeah, I've just been very excited to have this conversation here. I really think, life is a journey. Life is messy. The journey to become a mom and a master of product is not easy. There will be very many, messy moments, but I also want to share that there are also many rewarding memories. I remember the days that when my little girl told me at dinner, Mommy, I don't know why, but I think you need a hug. Then she would just give me a big hug and pat my back, right? And then my other daughter said to me one day, Mommy, I'm proud of your work, even though I don't know what exactly you do. So, to all the audience, all the amazing women in product, I hope Selena and I have planted some little seeds in you to give you a little bit more strength in your journey. There's this lyrics of the song that I really like. Which rose does not have thorn? The best response is to bloom, right? So, with the mom skills learned from raising child, you are a master of messiness and a master of product as an octopus mom. So I look forward to our Q&A session.
I love that. Yeah. And we hope this session helped encourage you on your journeys, whether you're already a mom or considering becoming a mom or hiring or working with a mom. We hope you can identify that these skills really help shape and ha- um, help mothers to become better product managers. So thank you very much. Look forward to chatting during our interactive session.